when I started looking into Epic, it was really hard to find information on them. And it wasn't until I went to the seminar that they hosted where they directly said that, oh, we built this system out of the basement of our grandma's house, and we're from this little tiny town in Wisconsin. Well, it just so happened to be the little tiny town in Wisconsin that I knew only has a church. And that church was one of the main areas that the Mothers of Darkness use. So I was just like, what? I was like, this is crazy. The vital thing about that church is that it's considered one of the underground training systems for the mothers. And underground, in several places throughout the US and the world, there's this vast, we'll just say there's a vast underground network that goes through every country. And with that underground network, you have three, sometimes more layers, but I'm just going to talk about the first three layers that are underground. And this all connects with Epic. So the first layer underground you have is what you would consider like the utility tunnels. So those are going to be the tunnel systems that, the cable companies, the gas companies, the electric companies, they do all their wiring and everything under there. Anybody who's a city worker has access to those tunnels. Underneath those, you have military tunnels that are connected to underground military bases, which are called dumb bases. And those are even bigger tunnel systems. Most of them, I think the longest ones I've heard of have about 100-mile stretch with the tunnels underground between the dumb bases and other places that they connect to. So, these tunnel systems are pretty large and vast. The entire island of New Zealand literally sits on top of a dumb base. So that whole underground, under the ocean shelf is literally a base under there. Then underneath those, you have what the system calls, and it's only those at the highest levels who are aware of the existence of these tunnels, but you have what are called the protector tunnels. And each of these individuals who are high up in the system, you're talking about high levels of spiritual and earthly power. So there is a lot of fight for that. Your life is always at stake. People want to take each other out so that they can be in those top positions of power. So each individual at these highest levels literally is raised with an individual who is their protector. So you're given your protector at a very young age. Usually you're very close in age, and you're raised kind of like schoolmates, but they won't have that person seen in your regular cover life. Like that person will always be behind the scenes unless you're in training or, you're doing things together that are events or rituals. That's when that person will be there. But otherwise, you train extensively together, you get to know each other well, but that person will never show up in your cover life because they don't want people to wonder, like, who's this kid that's always with you? So with this, we're talking about this epic system. So, this area that they come out of is one of those underground networks that is really only allotted or used by the Mothers of Darkness. It is connected to a spiritual gate that is right there in that community. It's one of the ancient gates that directly connects to the spiritual gate that is connected to Neuschwanstein. It also directly connects to the Vatican spiritual gate. So it's a highly guarded area. You don't get, that's why there's really only a church there. You don't have a town or stores or, they haven't built up the area because they want to keep it low key because of the ancient gates and the people who who go there often. So, so one of the other things that marks that area underground is that there are certain areas throughout the world where in those underground tunnel systems, they have long walls, and they will make some of those long walls what they consider ritual walls. So this is one of those areas where there is a ritual wall. So that means that, the high level elite children, when they, begin the program, they will go through a certain ritual where they dip their hand in blood and they put their hand upon that wall. And that marks that, their blood, their identity, their soul belongs to Baal and Molech.